dumbest piece of equipment you ever carried in your duty belt slash vest that you eventually got rid of after realizing it was unnecessary?
I'm not going to say that it's stupid, I'm not going to say that it's dumb, and I'm not going to say that it's not necessary, but the one piece of equipment that I have taken off of my duty belt, off of my vest, that I don't necessarily see a legitimate need for is the taser. And I'm going to tell you why. The taser is way more involved than most people think. You watch movies and they take a taser and it's like, and people just kind of pass out or whatever. When you are utilizing a taser, especially if it's the deployment taser, right? So you're talking 12 to 24, 25 feet distance-wise. There's so much that goes into it. You have a laser that comes out of the taser that shows you the point of impact of the first prong. The second prong comes out at a 12-degree drop. Now, 12 degrees spread out over 25 feet can be like this big, right? Most people don't understand this. They don't know that. So they're not thinking about where they're placing the light, or the laser rather, to get the hit on the first prong. Most people don't understand the concept of splitting the belt line. The way that a taser works, you have 50,000 volts of electricity that causes what's called NMI, neuromuscular interruption. What it does is it causes everything to lock up, right? So if you don't get a proper spread, you don't get enough of the muscle contraction to get the same reaction that you want from the subject, right? What you're wanting is for those muscles to tense up and them to not be in a position where they can continue doing whatever it is that they're doing. If you don't get the proper spread, if you don't get proper penetration, all of those things can lead to that person just ripping out the taser prong and then being even more angry and upset as they're chasing you down with a butcher knife. And we've seen videos of this. My thing with tasers is that most people don't understand how they work. They don't understand how they fail. They don't understand the mechanics of what the NMI is there to do. And if you're dealing with an aggressive dog, if you're dealing with, any myriad of things, there's so many things that can go wrong with the taser, where if you were to just leave that situation as a security guard, or if it's potentially dangerous enough that you need to draw your firearm, you're actually drawing a firearm, those to me are better options. So I personally do not carry the taser. Now, I will say one thing. If you have the X2, or you have some of the tasers that are able to arc, that arc of electricity is an amazing force multiplier to get people to comply. Humans have a fear of loud noises and electricity. And so when you're able to take that taser and you're able to arc it and give someone that last final warning, it really does go a long way to make people change their tune. I've seen it happen very many times when people are aggressive, they're getting upset, they're becoming more and more belligerent, and if you're able to take that taser and just arc it, zzz, and make that electrical spark happen, people start to kind of get some act right. That being said, if you had to actually employ it and then utilize all of the things that I'm talking about, the angles, the penetration, that can cause a lot of problems. So for me, I do not carry a taser. I want to make sure that, more importantly than anything else, I have my verbiage. If I need to, I can utilize my hands-on skills. That's why I go to grappling every night. If I need to, I can use my OC. And then if something gets absolutely to a point where it has to be dealt with lethal force, I have my firearm. I don't really want 75 different tools, and that's just me. Someone said the more knowledge you gain in private security, the less equipment you need. And I used to laugh at that and say, no, that's not true. You gotta have this, you gotta have that. And in some situations you do, in some circumstances you do. But for the most part, if you're working in private security, you don't need all of that. I'm not gonna ever tell you what you should carry. You carry what you're authorized to carry, what you think is best for you on your shift. That's a personal choice and decision. But for me, I don't need all of that equipment. So the taser has gone bye-bye. I used to be really against batons, but now working in this environment, I have to pick up things that I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole, which is why I carry a nice 3 to 5 foot pole, which is the baton. The only thing I utilize that baton for is picking up bags, moving them off property so I don't have to touch them. But again, that's just me. What do you guys think? What's one piece of equipment that you said I don't need to have and you don't have on your kit anymore? I told you mine, you guys tell me about yours.